Okay, we're on the bottom of the last line on Mem Zayin Amid Beis. Mem Zayin Amid Beis. We just had a machlokus whether the cheftzit of a goy are koine shvisa or not. We had machlokus and Pesach. We passed like Rabbi Yochanan seemed to say that cheftzit is koine shvisa. We had a case with rams being brought in, and we said like the lachs of Rabbi Gamliel, if they hit the shtot, they hit the city of Mavrachta, they were considered the whole city. They get the whole city, not just the shvisa of the guy. Because just like by Rabbi Gamliel on the boat, you get the whole boat. In the pen, you get the whole pen, right? Okay, so says the Gemara following. Says the Gemara, you have a chayim, what you have is you have two cities. The cities are A and B. You have the tchum, and the tchumim, where the tchumim meet, there's water. There's water. Where the tchumim meet, there's water. Now the problem is the water, since they're at the tchumim, the water from one tchum going to the other tchum would not be permitted. Apparently, if you hold, apparently not. So we're going to have a dialogue concerning that water that's meeting at the tchum mark. Again, you're not allowed to go outside the tchum. The water is going outside of the tchum. So let's see what happens over here. Says the Gemara. Rav Chia says there was a fish pond or fish nets shebein tchumei Shabbos that were between the tchumei Shabbos. Sarach mechitza shel barzel hafsikon. You would need a mechitza. Again, Rav Chia says a very funny lashon. You need a mechitza of barzel to separate them. You need literally an iron curtain. They think everything's ein chadash tachas l'shemesh. Literally an iron curtain to go ahead and separate them. Lahafsik. Machich ale Rabbi Yosef Chanina. After Rabbi Yosef Chanina heard this, he sneered, he smiled, he smirked. Disparagingly, he said, what kind of psak is this? In other words, that the water, apparently that this water, you can't drink this water. My time of kamachik, why is, the Gemara wants to know, why is Rabbi Yosef Chanina, why is he smirking? Elaine and Mishum Ditani look Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri lechumra. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri holds that kalim of hefker are kind of shvisa. So therefore the water is kind of shvisa and you can't eat it because why? It has its tchum, and once it goes outside, it's outside the tchum. That's why he's smirking. No, that's the chumrah. The ihu and he Rabbi Yosef B'chanina. So like Rabbanon holds like the Rabbanon that they are not kind of shvisa. So therefore, really, guys, if you look at the water, it should depend upon whether you view it kind of shvisa and limited to this side or not. Now, if you hold it's not kind of shvisa and you can go through, why would Rabbi Yosef B'chanina smirk at Rabbi Chia? Because Rabbi Chia is machmir like Rabbi Yosef ben Nuri. He knows he has on someone to go ahead and be supported that he's saying a din. When you smirk at somebody, it means the guy blew it totally. Just because he's machmir, he's makel, he won't be smirking. It makes no sense. To be machich, rhetorically going ahead and feel the psak is so wrong, that's not the reaction of an Amira. So therefore he says to him, and he was like Rabbanon Lakula, we should be Lakula, man the Tani Lachumra Machachala. Just because of Chia is Machmir, he's going to be Machach. He has Yesham Alismach to be Machmir. Elamishum the Tanya. Well, this is we learned the other day, fellas. Water that's flowing, you can't be Kona Shvisa. Remember we said the ocean, and you can't be Kona Shvisa? So maybe that's the reason. Maybe that's the reason he's saying that he smirked. Why would you think the water from one tchum going to the other tchum would go ahead and be koine shvisa? The Tanya Nahoris Hamoshkim Mayonis Lanovis Harihen Kiragle Kaladam. We're on Mem Ches Amid Aleph, about 6 lines down. Kol Adam Kiragle Kaladam. The Dilman Mechunasim. Maybe the water is not flowing. Maybe the water is just like in a pit, and therefore it would be kind of shvisa. So why would he be machach? Why would he go ahead and be lap? Why would he disparage Reb Chia? Elamishim the Tani sarch mechitza shel barzel lafsikoi umashme konim deloi the ayel b'hu maya, the water goes through the kanim. Shel basel nami ayel b'hu maya. Tell us, mechitza, 10 amis. So it's 10 tefachim. It's 10 tefachim high. And you put one of iron. So the water's going to go underneath. So in other words, he's smirking. What did you gain by putting an iron curtain? You're still going to have the problem of the water going from one tchum to the other tchum. And that's why he's smirking. Well, I have an answer to that also. Maybe I'll tell you, maybe with Dilmat Sarich, you need to put up an iron curtain to go ahead and make a barrier. Ve'enloi takana, and you don't have the ability to do it. So therefore, he's paskening, in fact, that you can't drink the water. So what? So why is he smirking? It's the cooler that the Chacham made by Mayim. One of the more famous pictures in Perish Chaifim is of a box going down and a pail going through the box and going up. So what the box does, it creates a mechitza. It's a suspended mechitza, and we want to know: can I draw from a carmelist from the water into a rishus hayachid using a suspended mechitza? And we said, by water, yes. Nothing else, no. In other words, a special kula we see by Eruv where we're makel. So hu adin, where the water meets in the tchum, we're going to be makel. And that's why Rabbi Yosef Chanina was smirking at Chia. Don't you know there's coolers by water that go ahead and supersede any other din of Eruv? We're makel by then. And that's why Rabbi Yosef Chanina was smirking. El mishum the kalu shekil chacham b'mayim kid Rav Tavla the boy minei Rav Tavla me Rav mechitza tuluya mahu shetata b'churva. We're going to see this later on, way later on in the Masechta. You have a mechitza and you have it's tuluya, it's hanging. Can it go ahead and what's the halacha regarding a churva? I'm like, a mechitza tuluya my terrace, it doesn't work. Ella b'mayim kal. B'mayim, why? Kal hu shekil chacham b'mayim. And therefore, since the water meets at the tchum, they're going ahead and you're saying the water's going this way, that way, and therefore it's going outside the tchum, you can't use it. That's what Rabbi Chia was saying. Said Rabbi Yosef Chanina, no. Said Rabbi Yosef Chanina, forget that. But we're makel by water, and you could go ahead and use the water, and therefore you smirk. Now, our Mishnah said, let's go back to the Mishnah. To understand this, we have to go back to the Mishnah on Mem Hey Amid Aleph, at the bottom. Mem Hey Amid Aleph at the bottom. Misha Yoshem B'derech, a guy sleeping on the way. And he's unaware of being kind of shvisa. The Chum say you only get 4 amas. Since you were not up in a shmashis, you only get 4 amas. Rabbi Eliezer, and these 4 amas you're in the middle, you get 2 on the side. Rabbi Yehuda, these 4 amas he gets goes directionally, whichever way he wants to go. And Rabbi Yehuda's maida, if you choose a direction, you can't go ahead and go in a different direction. Now, the Chacham say you only get 4 amas, Rabbi Yehuda says you only get 4 amas. What's the difference between Rabbi Yehuda and the Chachamim? That's what the Gemara wants to know. If they both hold 4 amas, what's the difference? Back by us, Mem Chesam and Aleph. The Chachamim Imli Ela Arba amas. Rabbi Yehuda Hainu Tanakama. Rabbi Yehuda, in fact, is the Tanakama. They both say 4 amas. Tanakama here being the Chachamim. Amarava Shmoin al Shmoin Ekabinayu. 8 by 8 is a difference. Rabbi Yehuda says you only get 4. The Chacham would say you get 8 by 8. Right? You get 8 by 8. Tanya, you notice that area that you're getting is either 4 by 4 or 8 by 8. Chacham would say you get 8 by 8. Tanya Mihachi Yeshle Shmoin al Shmoina. There Rabbi Meir gets okay. Vama Marava says Rava Machloikis lahalech. Machloikis is to walk. How far can you walk? Once you go outside, fellas. Once you're going outside the boundaries of the tchum, and you get 4 amas, or 8 amas. The machlokas is how far you can walk. But to carry divrei kol 4 amas, it's no different than being mavir rishus harabim, right? That you'll be limited to 4 amas. So even if you hold 8 by 8, right? That's only the Inyan walking, but the Inyan carrying you would only get 4. Tfeiloi. We need a source for these 4 amas. What's your source? Kidetanya. Shvu ish tachtav. Let each person remain in their place. What does in their place mean? Kid tachtav. The kama tachtav. Kufa sholish amas. A man is 3 amas high. Va'ama kedei lisha yadav araglav. And 1 amma for sticking out your hands and your legs. That's a total of 4 amis. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Gufay Shalosh amis, the same. Your body is 3 amis. Va'ama Kadei Sheyitel Chayfetz Mitachas Margaloisav. And 1 amma to go ahead and take a chayfetz from underneath his legs, umeniach tachas roshei, to put it on top of his head. My binaya, what's the difference? If you must simply say the difference between sticking out your hand or picking it up from the ground and putting it on your head? It can be arba amas mitzvahs. According to Rashi, Rabbi Yehuda says that what? Rabbi Yehuda is of the opinion that it has to be exact, and Rabbi Meir is more expansive. It doesn't have to be exact. So with exactly 4 amas, not exactly 4 amas, machlokes Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda. Only Rabbi Mashia told his son, "Ki ailis l'kamei de Rav Papa." When you go to Rav Papa, boy, me made the following question: Arba amas. These arba amas that a person gets when they go outside the tchum. Sha'amru ba'ama didei avin Allah. Are we measuring it based upon his amma? Again, an amma is counts from your look. Goes from here. Here's an amma from your elbow to the top of your middle finger. That's an amma. That's how they measure the amma. So when they measure the amma, does it go according to the person's amma, meaning he himself, or do we go according to the amma of Hegdish? In the Beis Hamikdash, there was 3 sticks, 3 measuring sticks. The middle stick was exactly 6 tefachim, and therefore it's going to be universally the same. So the question is, when we go ahead and calculate these amis, do we calculate according to the individual person, or do we go ahead and give a mean by everyone, the same one by every person? If you're going to say it's the Am of Kodesh, let's say you have a big guy. You don't even need a Melech HaBashan. Let's say you have a big guy, some big Jew. How is he going to fit in 4 amis, right? So the Im Amalach and if you're going to say, well, for that particular individual, we will give it. My time like Katanila, Gabayesha Amra Kalafi, Mashahu Adam. We had early in the Masechta, actually 2 weeks ago. There are certain shiurim which you give according to the individual. For example, the kmitza of a kohen, depending on the length of the fingers of the kohen, you'll be able to get more in that area. So there's not a standard over there. It depends upon the person's kmitza. We have le'inyan k'tayris. The tayris is molech chafonov. That would depend on the person. Nageya halach l'maisa. Koisev, the cheekful of Yom Kippur. That's how much you're able to on Yom Kippur. The issa, the share is the share of on Yom Kippur is the share of malei lagmav. That depends. Each person's got a different cheek, right? So why do we? If you're telling me that this share of Dalet Amis is relative to the individual, why do we include it in that other list where we got all the relative shiurim of individuals? Why is it not included there? So that's what the Gemara. This is what Rav Mishashia told his son to shepherd Rav Papa with a bunch of kashas, and if he says this, tell him this, and vice versa. Okay. Anyway, here's the story. Kiyasa l'kamei de Rav Papa, when Rav Rashia's son came in front of Rav Papa, Amalei, so he asked him these questions, and Rav Papa said, listen, if we be medayik so much, we won't learn anything. We won't get anywhere. Really, you go after the person's amma. So in other words, Oig Melech HaBashan is going to have a bigger 4 amas than Benji. And Steve Geller will have a bigger 4 amas than Ezra Miller. I mean, it depends upon the person, right? It depends on the person's amma. Okay, so question: then why isn't it included in the list of the cheekful and the kairis and the kmitza? And I'll tell you why. Let's say the guy has very short arms. Let's say the guy is tall, but he's got very short arms. So Memela, it's not true because his amma will be less than his height. It's relative, says the Gemara. With the kakashalach, and you have a question. My timer, like a tani gabe yesha amru. Why is it included in the list of all the relative shiurim? Because again, it's not going to be clear that you're always getting what. Sometimes you have to use the amma of the Migdash. Fellas, let's say his amma is less than the amma of the Migdash. Then you will have to use the amma of the Migdash. So you can't say you always give the share. By Kemitza, we're always going to give the share. By Ketaris, we're always going to give the share. By Yom Kippur drinking, we're always going to give the same share, no matter what. But over here, if his share is less than an Amma because he has very short arms, in that case, we will use the standard of the Migdash. And therefore, we can list it in that share. And that's what it says. They can nanis beivar of a person who is literally a midget in his arms. Literally has a midget in his arms. Okay. In the Mishnah, we said another din. We had circles, 3 circles, and I don't know, maybe I should look this down. It's going to take too long. Okay, let me do it. Give me a minute. I'm going to stop. I'm pausing the recording. Remind me. Where is that? Okay, forget it. I can't. It's not worth it. You have 3 circles, and the middle circles meet. So we said the middle person can share with the outer 2, but the outer 2 can't share with the middle. They can share with the middle, but they can't share with each other. And then it says that by the chatzeros, we have 3 chatzeros, A, B, and C. Then A, B, and C. Then the same din. That's Rav Shimon's din. The Chachamim we're going to learn tomorrow hold that you cannot share by the chatzar. In other words, they have 3 chatzerim, A, B, 1, 2, and 3 going into each other, and 1 and 2 make an erev, 1 and 3 make an erev with 2. You won't be able to share. So the Gemara wants to know why by the 3 circles did the Chachamim agree that the middle guys can go ahead and use and go with the middle. The outer guys can share with the middle. Yet by the chatzar, we said, no one can share. What's the difference between the chatzar that no one can share, like the chachamim, and the concentric circles where you could share? Fred the Gemara. Why do you have to go ahead and say the concentric circles are doimit to the 3 chatzeros? Says Mahachi Kamalahu. Reb Shimon Rabbanan. Michti. What are the 3 concentric circles similar to? They're similar to l'shalosh chatzeros, to 3 chatzeros. Hapsucha zu lezu, which are open one to the other. Upsuchas l'shasarabim. So Maishna Hasam, why over there by the chatzerim, the palgisi, the plika isai, you argue and you hold it all asa. Umaishna hacha by the 3 guys, the 3 circles, the light plagisu that you don't argue. And for the Gemara, Rabbanan, Hasam Absha Diurim. Over there, the Diurim, they are many. Hacha Loy Absha Diurim. Fellas, look. If you have 3 chatzerim, you have a lot of people, because in every chatzah you have to have at least 2 houses. So who's going to remember that 1 can go to 2, but 1 can't go to 3? So therefore, the Chacham worried, and the guy said you can't go, even into 2. Masha'en came by the circles, which is only 1 person. That 1 person will know he can only go to 2 and not to 3. So therefore, we agree by the circles. There's nothing to worry about since it's 1 individual. But since there's multiple people by the chatzeros coming in and out, we're concerned if you allow 1 to go to 2, they may go to 3, and that's not allowed. So therefore, we won't even allow them to go to 2, and therefore it's usher across the board. Good? Okay, great. Now, Rav Shimon said that, guys, halt up. Rav Shimon said the following: 3 chatzerim, 1, 2, and 3. Yes? Now be aware, in every one of the chatzer, you have at least 2 houses. So we're dealing with 6 houses. So let's call it 1, 2, and 3, and A and B. 1 has A and B, 2 has A and B, 3 has A and B. Good? We're all set. So what did Rav Shimon say? He paskined that 1 and 2 can go together, 2 and 3 can go together, 2 and 3 can go together, but 1 and 3 can't go together. Good? Now, what happened over here? Who made the Erev? There's 2 possibilities. Either 1 made an Erev with A and B, made an Erev together, and then they went to 2 and put it in the Chatzar. 3 made an Erev A and B together in their respective chutzner and did with 2, or 2 made an Erev with 8 and 1, or 2 made an Erev with. Okay, let's see the possibilities.
$150,000?
Yeah. We're
How much is 200?
no.
Okay, says the Gemara. Again, here's the law from the Mishnah. 2 can go with 1, 2 can go with 3. 1 can't go with 3. We're all set up, right? And again, remember, in each one, you're dealing with A and B, 2 houses. V'amai, kivin the arvi lehu chitzonius b'hadei emtsoyis. What happened? The outer ones made an Erev with the inner ones. So number 1 made an Erev between A and B themselves. Number 3 made an Erev A and B between themselves. They then took that Erev and stuck it in number 2. So says the Gemara, Havilu Chada, it's all one Chatzar. Fellas, well look, you three, correct? 1 made a kosher Erev in its Rishus. 3 made a kosher Erev in their Rishus. They then took the kosher Erev and put it in the middle Shus. So it's all one Rishus. Why can't 1 go to 3? What's stopping you? Got it? One more time. One made an Erev among itself. A and B, they went ahead, they made an Erev. 3 made an Erev with itself, A and B. They consequently took their Erev and deposited it in 2. So therefore, Fred the Gemara, it should be one big Rishus, and they should all be able to carry even 1 to 3. So why not? That's the Gemara's kasha. Why not? What's wrong with that? So Rabbi Yehuda, I'll tell you what's wrong with that. Kigoin shenasna emtsoyis eruvay bezu ve'eruvay bezu. The middle guy, says Rabbi Yehuda, made the Erev. So 1 and 3 never made an Erev with 2. 2 made an Erev with 1. 2 made an Erev with 3. Right? So 2 A and B and 2. They went and took the Erev and deposited by 1. They went and took the Erev and deposited by 3. Memelas, 1 never made an Erev with 3. So therefore, it's not a problem. That's Rabbi Yehuda's teretz. Rav Shesha Sama, afilu tema shenasna Eruvin b'emtsoyis. You can even say it's speaking where 1 deposited its Erev in 2 and 3 deposited its Erev in 2. Guys, listen, you know what they did? Number 1 put his Erev in door number A, and number 3 put his Erev in door number B. So you had an Erev in 2 separate areas in 1 Rishus. Says the Gemara, Shenasnua Amid Beis, Shenasnua Penny. It's a short Rashi penny. Don't worry. Shtei Batim Kiman. So what did they do, guys? They took the Erev, but they didn't put it in the same Rishus. They didn't put it both in door number A, and they didn't put it in door number B. Each one put it in a separate Rishus. Kiman, like Beis Shammai. The Tanya, Chamisha Shegavu Es Eruvin. 5 people, they go ahead and they collect their Eruvin. Finas Nua B'Shnei Kalim, and they went in the house, but they put it in 2 Kalim in the same house. Beis Shammai Oimrim Ein Eruve Erev. Ubeis Hillel Oimrim Eruve Erev. So in this scenario, it's even worse than this Beis Shammai scenario, because they're not even putting it in the same house. Fellas, got Erev number 1. They made an Erev among themselves. They're good. Chutzner number 1. They deposited their chutzner in number 2 in house number A. Number 3 made a kosher Erev among themselves. However, they deposited their Erev in number 2B. So the Erev is in 2 separate spots. Says Rav Sheshes, in that scenario, Beis Shammai would hold it's not a good Erev. Why? Because it's not in the same. Beis Shammai says even a bigger chiddush, even if it's in the same house. If it's in 2 separate kalim, it's not an Erev. It's not mixed together. You're not together in this. So therefore, it's according to Beis Shammai. Says the Gemara, afilu teime Beis Hillel. You can even say it's according to Beis Hillel. Ad kan like coming base Hillel Hasam El B'Shnei Kalim B'Bayis Echad. 2 kalim in one house. When you have 2 kalim in one house, then it's kosher because at least you're in the same house. Aval B'Shnei Batim Loi. But you have 2 batim, then not. 2 batim, even Beis Hill will admit that since there's one heir is in the house A and one's in 2A and one's in 2B, therefore it's not a good heir. Okay, so let's see what we did so far. Let's review. We saw it in the Mishnah, 3 chatzeirim, 1, 2, and 3. That 2 can go to 1, 2 to go to 3, but 1 can't go to 3. Fred the Gemara, since they all made an erev together, why can't they go? The Gemara gives 2 terutzim. One, it's speaking where 1 and 3 never made an erev together. Only 2 made an erev with 1. Only 2 made an erev with 3. That's Rabbi Yehuda. Rav Shesha said, no, it could be speaking where 1 made an erev with 2 and 3 made an erev with 2. However, they put it in different houses. So therefore, since they're in different houses, the erev is not together, and therefore they're not there. That's the 2 terutzim to answer the pshat in Mishnah, why 1 can't carry the 3. 2 possibilities. The Gemara now is going to question that. So, guys, are all good? Is any questions?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Had 1 and 3 just put it in 2 in the chutzner, not in either house, A, B, had they just left it in the chutzner, everything would have been fine.
That I don't think that's an erev. You have to put it in a house. I think you have to put it in a house.
Okay.
Says the Gemara. Amalei Rav Acha Breder of Avi Rav Ashi. Says Rav Acha, the son of Rav Avi Rav Ashi. The Rav Yehuda Kasha. I have a Kasha in Rav Yehuda's Pshat. Guys, Rav Yehuda says 2 made an erev with 1, 2 made an erev with 3. Well, Rav Shesha's Kasha, that you put it in 2 separate houses. I got a Kasha. The Rav Yehuda Kasha. What's the Kasha in Rav Yehuda? What? The Omar Kigoin Shenosna Emtsoyis Eruvin Bezu. Right? That's what happened. 2 put it in with 1, 2 put it in with 3. The Kivin the Irva Emtsoyis Bahade Chitzoina Havale Chada. Fellas, as soon as 2 put with 1, what's the din? Is it 1 rishus? Fellas, as soon as 2 made a kosher erev, A and B, they went ahead, they made a kosher erev with 1, right? Is 2 and 1 rishus? So then when 2 goes into 3, it's like 2 and 1 going into 3, so it should all be 1 erev. Again, 2 made a kosher erev among themselves. They then made a kosher erev with 1. So when now 2 goes to 3, he's not coming just for himself. He's coming with number 1 with him. So it should be 1 rishus. That's his kasha. Yet our Mishnah says 1 and 3 can't carry together. This is Rav Yehuda's pshat in our Mishnah. So Rav Acha is asking, 1 second, look at the words, guys. The kivin the arva and soyas bahade chitzoina. Since 2 made an erev with 1, havale chada, 2 and 1 are 1 and the same. The kivin the hodra of ava bahade idoch. And now when 2 makes the erev with 3, shlichusa avda, he's doing the shlichus of 1. So it should be 1 erev, the whole place should be good. That's my kasha. Yet we say that 1 and 3 cannot go together. Geschmack. What's our problem with Rav Sheshes? Now, Rav Sheshes was speaking, what was the case? 1 put into 2B, or 2A, and 3 put into 2B, right? So they want them together. So listen to this kasha. Well, Rav Sheshes kasha, it's like 5 people living together. And they didn't go ahead and make a good erev. The Asri Adadi. Fellas, can 2 carry with 1? 2. Can 2 go to 1? Can 2 go to 3? Right? What happens? You're telling me now that there was a mess up. You're telling me now there was a mess up. Right? What was the mess up? 2 didn't do the right, 3 didn't do the right thing. He put it in B. And 1 put it in A. So now 2 does not have a good erev, right? Because you forgot to do the right thing. So it should even asa 2. The whole thing shouldn't be good. Yet 2 can go. In other words, Rav Sheshes, if this is your pshat, how to explain the Mishnah, not only doesn't it explain why one can't go to three, you also messed up two. Because again, the fact that they're living there but they're not really there doesn't work. Fred the Gemara, one more time. Urav Sheshes Kasha, Urav Huda. Okay, says the Gemara. Urav Sheshes Kasha. Tahavi, when one puts in A and three puts in B, Tahavi ki chamisha sheshruim b'chatzar achas. 5 people living together. So again, one is in there, you make a good Erev, and 3 is in there, you make a good Erev. The Asri Adadi, that even 2 is Asa. No, neither one of your questions, Rav Acha, is viable. Rav Yehuda's pshat, that it's the middle guy making the Erev with the other 2 is intact. And Rav Shesh's pshat, that they put in the wrong doors are intact. Wrong houses are intact. Rav Yehuda Kasha, even the Erev law emtsoyes bahadi chitzayna, ushtayim chitzaynis bahadi adadi le irvu, gali daite de baha nichle bala nichle. Fellas, look at me. Look at me. What was the kasha that Rav Acha asked? He said the following: you're telling me 2 made an Erev with 1, kasha Erev, correct? So now 2 and 1 are considered 1. So now when he goes over here to 3, he's doing the shlichus of 1. The whole thing should be good, correct? That's what you're telling me. That was the kasha. In other words, your shot should matter to everyone. It shouldn't tell me why 1 and 3 can't go together. It should explain why 1 and 3 could go together. Why? Because when 2 makes it with 1, they're one group, and now he's going. Fellas, did 1 and 3 go ahead and agree with this? No. If they wanted to make an Erev, they would have agreed to it. By the fact they didn't want to make an Erev, they didn't agree to it. What does it show? That 2 is not the shliach of 1. He's not the shliach of 1. Because if he was, 1 would have said, make me a deal with 3. But when 1 and 3 are makbid and they don't do anything, 2 is doing everything. We have a riot that 1 and 3 don't want to make an Erev. Therefore, 2 can go with 1 and 2 can go with 3. So therefore, the kasha of Rav Acha is not a valid kasha. That 2 should be the shlichus of 1. 1 and 3, 1 doesn't want to be a shliach with 3. So therefore, he's held serve, very geschmack. 1 and 3 can't carry 2. 2 can carry to 1 and 3. Now, what about Rav Sheshes, guys? Rav Sheshes says that they're not living together, and therefore then it's going to be a problem. Says the Gemara, on that point, Rav Sheshes lekasha. The urine is lahakal. What's the point of the urine? We say that this guy makes an Erev together, right? They live together. They make an Erev together. Now you're telling me that does 1 live in the chutzner of 2? Does 3 live in the chutzner of 2? So you're going to tell me people who don't live there are going to come and mess up 2 that they can't carry in their own chutzner? 2, they made a good Erev, guys. 2, A and B, they were good. Nah, they live together. Comes in 1 who doesn't live together and puts it in A. Comes in 3 who doesn't live there and puts it in B. And now Shesha says, the whole Erev is no good. We didn't say the urine to be machmir. We said it to be mekel. Memela, their actions cannot go ahead and mess up the Erev of 2, A and B. Because the din of Erev, of living together, of the urine together, bringing in one spot, was lahakal. And 2 guys who don't live there can't mess that up. Therefore, your kasha is not a kasha. How are we doing? Okay, so in summary, we held serve. 3 chatzeirim, 1, 2, and 3. 2 can carry to 1, 2 can carry to 3. Like Rabbi Yehuda, it's speaking where 2 made the Erev with 1, 2 made the Erev with 3. They can't mix together because they're makbid on each other. Rav Shesha says it's speaking where 1 brought it in, 3 brought it in, but they put them in different houses. Therefore, since they put it in different houses, they are not what they're not. It's not a good Erev for either 1 or 3. 2 would remain intact because they can be machmir. I'd like to learn tomorrow morning. Initially, I thought I was going to go ahead and say share and just put it on and let you watch it. I figure by 10 o'clock, I could say share at 10 a.m. in the morning. So at 10 a.m., the guys who can Zoom, yes. or else it'll be recorded. Steve will have it recorded by then, and you could watch it, okay? So 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, I'll be saying share. Okay, it'll give you the day. Like this, you'll have the day, to say it later in the day, it's a very pressurized day. Like this, I'll say it at 10 a.m., and hopefully it'll work out. I thank you, everyone, for listening. Have a great day.
Chasima Tova.
Gemar Chasima Tova. Good Ben Shua to everybody.
Thank you.
Good Ben Shua, Rabbi Singer. Chasima Tova.
Mazel tov again to Avi Rosenzweig.
Thank you. Gemach Simatova. Good year for everybody. A healthy year.
Amen. Amen. Ellie, good to see you.
Thank you.